Bless, bless, peace and blessings. Peace and hip hop family. Peace and blessings to the hip hop family around the world, y'all. Around the world. I'm gonna just allow this vibration to step into the space. I'm gonna allow the vibration to, like, the spirit of all of this to really resonate in this space. So, really quick, please allow me to, as I will allow myself to, light some candles, fill this clear glass of with water, and light an incense to allow the hip hop ancestors into the space. Let's go ahead and welcome them in as the spirit resonates in the space. That's right. This is how we're doing this healing thing. This is how we're doing this healing thing. One at a time, one at a time. First of all, I would like to invite my hero, Tupac Shakur, into the space. Ashe, Ashe. So light this candle. I guess you guys can see this part. I block it out because I do not like for the emphasis to be on myself. But I would like to invite you guys into the space. Since this is a healing event, I'm going to go ahead and invite the hip hop family into the space. The ancestors to the babies. Hip hop is for everybody. Ashe, Ashe. Ashe, Ashe. Where should I put these? I'm going to put this here. I would like to also invite Biggie Smalls into the space. Jam Master Jay into the space. And our other hip hop heroes and sheroes into the space. I would like to invite Miss Melody into the space. I would like to invite my mother, my grandmother into the space, my grandfathers into the space, as they surround me with love and comfort and everything that I need. So give thanks. I would like to invite South Africa into the space. This is the South African flag after the apartheid years. And we want to invite that energy, that welcomeness, all of that into the space. Again, I usually block this out because I don't want myself to be the focus. I want the word and what we're doing to be more of a focus than myself, my being, or what I'm, doing right now, or what something looks like, or any of that stuff. Because really, the message is really what I am about getting across. So I got my little microphone here just so that it picks up anything. And yeah, so testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Test, test, test. Let's see if it works. Testing, 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 1 2, testing, 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 1 2, testing, 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 1 2, testing, test, test. I hope it works. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when I do the playback. So right now, I wanted to just bring a good message, a good lesson. I always start first with myself. And this is just me having my own time, quiet time, space, healing session through hip hop. And I just want to give a chance to show the text in which I'm reading from. This is the Gospel of HipHop by none other than the master teacher himself, KRS-One. This is hip hop's holy book, if you did not know that we had one. And this is also BAM, his on my yeah, boom. I want to give info that he wrote on there. Cool beans, cool beans. So I thought today we would read from the second chapter and or book, whatever you would like to call it. I would like to read. It's called The Love. It begins on page 24. Let me go ahead and show you that piece. This is free. You can read along. You can go to Amazon.com. Perhaps I'll put a link in later. But right now, just it's okay to listen. If you're traveling, if you at home, if you whatever. Because again, this is for me and I'm sharing it with the world. So hopefully someone gets something out of it. But if it misses me, then I've missed the point. So it's the point is for it to reach me and then go ahead and convert and transmute that energy and that spirit into actionable items and steps to make the world better and to make the world woker. You know, we do woke and just to be a light unto this world. Okay. I'm not an affiliate. I don't have an affiliate link for the book or anything like that. That'll change very, very soon. Just so that this could continue to, that will be able to continue to fund this kind of work. I know I've been away for quite some time. I've been going through quite a bit of things. And I'm overcoming a lot, including even this part here, you know, even this part here just continuing. So we're going to go ahead and read from the love today. Again, I'm going to let the spirit resonate in the space because this is a spiritual part. This is the good news of hip hop. This is the less stress, and I have to distress myself. And I'll share a little bit about that later. But right now, let me get a little bit more water, and then we'll go ahead and continue. Right now, just vibe out. Just vibe out. I don't know when. Like, there's no one in the space. Well, I think there's one person. I don't know who that is, but perhaps, and thank you for being here. Blessings to you. Give thanks, whoever you are. Please write a comment if you wish. Say, hey, I'm here, or hip hop, or peace 100 something, just to let me know. Because really, it's a blessing that you're sharing this time and space with me, and I do appreciate it. And right now, I'm just going to focus in on the gospel of hip hop, and really just push this thing forward, this narrative. There's a lot of people that actually start their YouTube channels and all of that stuff with no people, no views, and that is exactly where I've started from. Even just a couple, just these couple of times I've been reading, I realize and understand that consistency is key. So I'm really working on being able to have a consistent schedule enough. And I think I got that part now. It's been a long, like 7-8 months since I've done these types of sessions. But I've just been doing them on my own for myself so that I can really speak from a personal experience and not just from something that I've heard or thought about or, conjured up in my own mind and in my own self. Please excuse me, I'm a little warm. I'm gonna turn on the fan, get some water, and we'll be ready to rock. In the meantime, just vibe out. This hip hop. Go ahead and have a short meditation or whatever. Vibe out with some rhymes. That's why we play this. All right, one love. Give me a second. Ooh. I wanted to blow the pages. Right. Okay, folks. Bless, bless. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. It's about 10 pages long. I know that I already read this back months ago, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Microphone input. Okay. So, again, we're reading from the Gospel of HipHop. I'll go ahead and show you that again so you can look that up for yourself. Order it, download it, however you got to get it, because this is the message of hip hop that needs to be shared widely, explained widely, overstood, understood, all of those things. So we're going to go ahead and go to page, I believe it's 24. I don't think I went back too far. I was right there. Okay, here we go. Page 24. It's called The Love. So I titled this video Heal Yourself with Love because again, this is me healing myself with love, sharing it with you. So it's a different take on sharing videos and how people are, YouTubers. I'm definitely not a YouTuber, but I want to archive. I'm an archivist, so I want to archive this experience of my own as I just go through this process of healing myself physically, mentally, spiritually, and the like. Um, I am currently injured, so that's one part of it. I changed my diet quite a bit, increased activity, increased water intake, and healing hip hop means human education. Um, what is it? Human education, like over lies or something like that. Healing, it's something like that. I gotta, dang, I just saw it too. So I'm sorry about that, but I'll get that in a second. But right now, I'm gonna heal myself with love, and I'm gonna share that with you, and hopefully you vibe out with me. So let's get it going. We're gonna get this thing going. Testing, 1, 2, to make sure the audio is good. Um, and you'll just watch us grow. You'll grow with us. You'll see us grow. You'll help us grow. We'll help each other. Sharpens iron. So as we just continue this hip hop life, we're gonna do this thing like we do it. Let's see. So it says, before and beyond the collective history of our recording contracts, platinum sales, and awards, and tour dates, we have been the direct recipients of a saving force, a spiritual form of intelligence which can only be described as love. But how soon did we forget who fed us when we were hungry, who taught us when we were ignorant, who clothed us when we were naked, who sheltered us when we were houseless. We were quick to pray for what we wanted in our time of need. But after we were out of the danger or satisfied in some way, we forgot that we just prayed to something that actually responded. The question is, how serious are you about God? Many people believe in God, but only a tiny few actually appreciate God. And how soon we actually appreciate God and show it with a life dedicated to union with God? How soon did we forget how helpless and vulnerable we were before the threats of our enemies were miraculously dealt with? How can we forget? Such forgetfulness is almost always reminded by a return to hunger and powerlessness. Man, this is already deep, right? It's already deep, man. It's already deep. Let me put something under this so I can angle it. There we go. Now we're in verse 4. Miracles happen every day, all day. But most people don't expect them, so they don't see them or experience them. Strange, kooky type events go on all the time. and people simply disregard them as coincidences or they ignore them altogether. Then they criticize their own spiritual experiences as not real, childish, and or naive. Most people cannot deal with the possible fact that what they are seeing is not all of what they are getting, that there is a deeper, faster, stronger reality that can actually override the mechanics of their own physical universe and its laws. That things might not actually be the way we think they are. Verse 6. For most people, such a revelation is indeed scary and not even to be discussed. But for a select few, such a revelation is inspiring and encourages such people to learn more, seek more, and live more. This is what the gospel of hip hop is all about. It is about the restoration and further development of one's love for hip hop, because it is through love that we learn of the deeper lessons regarding the nature of God. Let me let you take that in for a second, and I'm going to read it again. So, yeah, my whole thought about this is like when people read through the Bible and they discuss and they have prayer times online and all of this stuff, I want to bring the gospel of hip hop to that level, right? There's plenty of other people around the world doing it. I'm sure, hopefully they are. I want to encourage more action in this space, and the hip hop, holiness of hip hop, the love of hip hop, the godliness of hip hop. I want to bring the healingness of hip hop into the space because we need it. We need it so much. We need it so much. We really do. So let's go ahead and continue. I love this stuff, man. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so it says this is what the gospel of hip hop is all about. It is about the restoration and further development of one's love for hip hop, because it is through love that we learn of the deeper lessons regarding the nature of God. Verse 8. The gospel of hip hop points the way to a spiritually lived hip hop life. However, love is the code that tells the universe that you can be trusted with information that must be lived in order to be learned. Again, the gospel of hip hop points the way to a spiritually lived hip hop life. However, love is the code. Love is the code. Let me read it again. Love is the code that tells the universe that you can be trusted with information that must be lived in order to be learned. Know this. It says the universe thinks and responds to your thinking. And this is the essence of what hip hop is for us. It is our relationship with divinity. Hip hop is what we are doing with our portion of God. Hip hop is what we are doing with our portion of God. That just gave me chills. When we are performing the role of a pimp, verse 9, a hustler, drug dealer, stick-up kid, whore, murderer, etc., this is what we are doing with our portion of God. The love that has rescued us from self-destruction. Now, that's the definition that is given here of God. The definition is the love that has rescued us from self-destruction. Let that sink in. The love that has rescued us from self-destruction in hip-hop is God. That's what's up. That's verse 8, chapter 2, in the chapter called the Love, page 25. Okay, let's go to verse 9. When we are performing, I already read that part. I'll read it again because it's longer, and I'm really just taking it in as again, this is that session, this is that process. So when we are performing the role of pimp, hustler, drug dealer, stick up kid, right? Drug dealer, stick up kid, whore, murderer, etc. This is what we're doing with our portion of God. The love that has rescued us from self-destruction. When we are performing the role of teacher, minister, parent, volunteer, MC, this is also what we are doing with our portion of God. Uh-oh, my hand's itching. Woo, yeah, my palms at that, right? Yes. This is also what we're doing with our portion of God. I get that. That's a message from the ancestors because we already invited them into the space. Give thanks to the ancestors. Thanks for spending time with us. I hope I'm really administering this word correctly, properly, and in respect to you all. I thought I heard something. When we are performing the role of teacher, minister, parent, volunteer, MC, etc., this is also what we're doing with our portion of God, the love that inspires us to self-create. Verse 10. For if hip hop was created explicitly for self-destruction, then self-destruction would be fine, and we would thrive upon such a condition. But hip hop was not created to self-destruct. It was created to self-create. Look at that. Hip hop was not created to self-destruct, folks. Family. It was created to self-create. Hip hop, you don't stop. And this is how we know that its inspiration was of God. Hip hop came from within us, yet we still had to learn it. In our early days, we felt the fullness of it, but still had to develop artistic techniques to express it in nature. Hip hop came to us from within us. Hip hop came to us from within us. It's dope. Hip hop is the name of the love that rescued us from oppression. Hip hop, is a term given to the inner force that inspires us to self-create. This gospel is a tribute to the love that has saved us and brought us together under the title of hip hop. And this is the message. Love is the message. This is what we originally did with our artistic elements. This is what we originally did our artistic elements for. We did it for the love. Unspoken collective intelligence that is shared psychically. I don't know why I thought that said physically. That unspoken collective intelligence that is shared psychically by all who belong to the group. For those who belong to the group, feel the love. Those who care for the group, feel the love. Those who seek love, feel the love. And it is the God that we serve, without form, without name, without origin. The love that is the saving force in the world many civilizations have written about, have called God for thousands of years. We have observed now that love is a divine activity and intelligence unto itself that saves, rewards, inspires, and teaches all who are a part of its group. Love is God. But love seems to also be selective. It thinks and judges. Verse 14, many follow the tradition that God is love. And yes, such is the truth. But when you really begin to live out this statement, you will find that it is more the fact that love is God. Love is God. God is a term that makes love understandable to us. God is a term that makes love understandable to us. The term God is not anything unto itself, but what the term God describes is actually love and the activities of love. Ruth, she said, don't read in the dark. So let me go ahead and shed some light on these pages. That's good. Give me a little light too. Shine some light on these pages so I can read it properly. I can hear her saying, girl, you're reading in the dark. I'll let my hair down a little bit. It's itching too. You know it's time to wash it when it starts itching. So yeah, I let that sink in. I'm gonna read that again. That was verse that was verse 14, page 26, second chapter called The Love. Many follow the tradition that God is love, and yes, such is the truth. But when you really begin to live out this statement, you find that it is more the fact that love is God. God is a term that makes love understandable to us. The term God is not anything unto itself, but what the term God describes is actually love and the activities of love. Yes, for many people, God is love, but for us, love has been our God. Love is what we have served, and it is love that has saved us. God is not above love. Love is God. Love is not from God. Love is the only God that we've ever known. This is hip hop, y'all. Straight up. Man, this is so dope. This is hip hop, y'all. For real. This is hip hop. Yeah. Shout out to the DJs on this playlist. Give thanks. If you hear a beat that you know of, tag it in the comments in the description. Whenever at some point, I'm actually glad that, I don't have a bunch of folks in and all of that stuff, because it's not about that and it keeps me focused. I actually don't like that. I'm surprised I didn't put, the blackout back on. But I'm comfortable here in this space, and I give things probably and possibly, more than likely, it's because of the ancestors and inviting them into the space. Let's continue. I'm going to read 15 and go on. Yes, for many people, God is love, but for us, love has been our God. Love is what we have served, and it is love that has saved us. God is not above love. Love is God. Love is not from God. Love is the only God we have ever known. The term God is not above the term love, because without love, because without love, the term God has no meaning and ceases to exist. For it is love that defines God and empowers God is God. For it is not God that governs and orders the universe, it is love. And it is not God that destroys the universe, it is I got that. I'm going to read that again so I don't get tongue-tied and make sure it sounds right. For it is not God that governs and orders the universe, it is love. And it is not God that destroys the universe, it is the illusory absence of love. Therefore, let us return to our ancient understanding of God. Let us return to our ancestral wisdom formed from the real experiences we have had with God. The love that has enlightened us. Before the kidnap, rape, theft, deception, and murder of our ancestors and grandparents, which forced upon us our modern day view and perception of God, we worshipped the power of love. We saw it, we felt it, and we expressed it toward one another, even to those who would eventually enslave our parents. Over many years, some of us would track its patterns and repeated behaviors in an effort to communicate and be more in harmony with such a being. Of all the virtues available to humanity, love is truly the God of them all. I'm going to pause right there as this song fades out. That's verse 19. Let me see, it goes up to verse 47. So we're going to get through that for sure. But let me do got to do a couple things here to aid us in our experience. Please do forgive me. I should have done this before, but I just remembered. So my bad, me malo, me malo. But let's go ahead and continue here. We're going to continue in verse. So hold on one second. But just vibe out. That's the beauty of having, hip hop music in the background and beats to play, because as our thoughts move along and as they move us along into action and movement, that could be dance, that could be movement, that could be movements, right? Um, but we want to make sure that we're not missing the spirit, that we are not missing the message, that we're allowing the words to land on our ears, that we're allowing the seed that has been embedded and hidden in our hearts to be shown now. We are the light. We are the light to this world. Hip hop, yes, we are leading this way. We are leading this charge. And it is up to us to take this message and mold it into something amazing for our own lives. This can heal us. It could feed us. It could feed our family and buy a home and have us travel the world if we let it. So allow this this force that is moving us along in this life, but it understand that it's love. That's why I'm reading this chapter. And I'm telling this to myself, right? As I'm sharing this with other people who may be here or around or listen later or what have you. This point. So yes, if you're not on a line with us, please do follow our Twitter and join our Facebook at Truth Media Global, and our hip hop groups on Facebook as well, entitled Hope for Hip Hop. That's Hope, the number 4, through the Gospel of HipHop. We want to share all that is embodied within us, that we can ignite something good. And it's always been in us. It's never left. And perhaps we just need to be reminded, because right now it's clapback season, but they say it's a season for everything. And so we want to make sure that of harmony on deck, the season of love on deck, enlightenment, overstanding, right? Not understanding. We don't understand in hip hop, we overstand. And we'll get to that, because we're going to get through this book. We're going to get through this entire thing. Now, the goal at the beginning of the year was to get through it by the end of the year. But as you can see, there's a lot to be gone through. I don't even know how many chapters are here. Let's just see. It's not like I have the number. It's like the Bible. Like, unless you really read it and know how many and all by the back of your hand. And I'm a baby teacher. I'm a young one. It's like, to all the educators out there, whether you're in the music community, the dance community, wherever at, the hip hop community, the healing community, the healing space, and healers. Shout out to everybody, shout out to all of that. So this book literally goes, I'm on page 819 right now. Looks like it's all the shout outs. And I still don't see how many chapters are in this book, but let's see while we have it, while we're taking in this message. Oh, duh, I can go to the table of contents. Ain't that easier? So we have looks like 18 chapters, and it ends on page 818. Go figure. 18 chapters ends on page 818, and then the shout outs begin on page 819. So I'm sorry I have a very slow connection right now. Hopefully I'm not stuttering or it's not like buffering too bad. But my goal is to bring in some other folks into the space. So I just want to share this link really quick so they can join in with us. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we're doing this thing. Hope for hip hop. Yes, we in this thing. We're doing the main. We're just trying to heal, be in the spirit. And I'm coming up with lyrics as we float by in the streets. Everybody's bobbing to the beat. And this is hip hop. Yes, it is. How the heck? I don't know what's going on here. Why it's doing me like this? Doing me like this. You're doing me like this. You're doing me like that. Anyway, maybe it's buffering. It's taking too long. You know, I gotta be patient and all, but geez. See, I start sweating again. Give thanks, man. It's just beautiful. It's healing space. It's lovely. Yeah, I can't get it to work, so I'm gonna just get back to it and set it up beforehand. I guess next time it's taking too long. Sorry about that, folks, but let's get back to it. So again, we are on verse 20, and woo, 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 woo. Let me angle this down just a tad bit. Okay, there we go. Woo, it's hot. I'm sweating again, y'all. It's a little warm. Okay, so let's go to verse 20. It will not take this long next time. Or maybe it will. I guess the spirit. I gotta let the spirit. So, but again, as we move through this, we want to make sure we're moving. If you're just tuning in, this is the Gospel of HipHop, the first instrument presented by none other than KRS-One for the Temple of Hip Hop. We're in chapter 2. The chapter is called The Love, and we are on page, I believe it's 26, 27. Verse 20. Yeah, page 27. Verse 20. And it's called The Love. I'm sure what it looks like. Maybe some of y'all want to screenshot it and read along. Right? Make sure it's all in there. There you go. Maybe you might want to screenshot it, read it later. Let's see. Get it all in focus. All right, cool. All right. So now, verse 20. Okay. Verse 20. All right, so verse 20. The Gospel of Hip Hop acknowledges the love that set us aside in the world and has made us hip hop. Set us aside, set us apart. That's another way of saying holy, right? I know in the Christian faith and in the Bible, it says when you're holy, that means you're set apart. So this here is saying that this gospel for hip hop acknowledges the love that set us aside in the world and has made us hip hop. This gospel acknowledges grace bestowed upon hip hop and hip hoppers and urges the hip hop community to rise to the promise God has made to us. And what is this promise God has made to us? Verse 21. The promise is that if we turn from our own ignorance and immaturity and seek the face of God, we shall experience that ancient blessing that topples the most powerful nations and establishes the nation that has repented and has obeyed. The promise that is that if we ever dare to rise to our divinity, God promises to meet us there. Our divinity begins with the proper understanding of love and what it means to forgive and care for one another. 9:07 Pacific time. 9:07 Pacific time. Okay. I have a midnight deadline, so I won't be taking too long on this because I got to get back to making sure I make this deadline. But this space is important. This space is imperative. This space is crucial, even in hip hop. How is it crucial? Very, very crucial because our spirit is everything, right? Like our spirit is everything. It governs our life. It governs our mind if we allow it, right? If we will. Okay. Verse 28. With this understanding, we learn that we can never really love God. We can only be love God toward each other. We have observed now that the way to experience God is to experience true love. And this is achieved not by receiving love, but by being love itself. So listen, hip hop, we got to be love. Be love. Be love. Now, even when I sign off lately this year specifically, and even last year too, when I sign off and sign to people, I say be love, as in be loved and be loved with a D, right? I capitalize love, and everything else is smaller cases. So remember to be love. And it says it right here. In verse 22, it says, with this understanding, we learn that we can never really love God. We can only be love or God toward each other. We have observed now that the way to experience God is to experience true love. And this is achieved not by receiving love, but by being love itself. Such an approach to spiritual living begins one's understanding of hip hop's spiritual life. And again, this has nothing to do with spiritual concepts and experiences of other cultures far older than ours. Our culture meaning hip hop. But we have realized now that your culture is your religion, and it is impossible for us hip hoppers to have a relationship with God. Our culture is our direct connection to God. Our cultural life is the cultural path that we must take to arrive at the presence and power of God. The presence and the power of God. See, this right here, this is deep for me, y'all. This is right here, this right here. This excites me. It invigorates my spirit to know this spiritual truth, to understand these principles, and to put them into practice. It's all love. So when we truly say it's all love, it's all love. And love is God, and God is good. So it's all love, it's all good. Shout out to should we say Pastor Fonzarelli or Reverend E40. With that, it's all good. It's all love joint. Okay. He coined that. He coined that term in hip hop, and hip hop's language meaning slanguage. Okay. Slanguage is hip hop's verbal communication language. Okay. And written too, from what I understand. As I continue to study, we're gonna study this together. We're gonna get this together, and we're gonna create the biggest, most powerful force in the world. Like it already is, but as millennials, as us, we're gonna go ahead and embody this thing and move this thing forward for the next generations to come. At 9/12 on 9/12/2019, this is what we're doing. What we're doing, we're reading the Gospel of Hip Hop. That's what we're doing. We building this thing. That's what we're doing. That's definitely what we're doing. Again, it's 9/12 on 9/12, 9/12 p.m. on 9/12. What a better place. It ain't no better place to be. But in hip hop. And in this engulfing this love that we're getting right here. Let's get into the word. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right. So much, this is verse 24. Much respect to all who seek the face of God. However, this gospel reflects the actual notes taken over a 14-year period with over 40 years of living hip hop spiritually. Others, because about that. Okay, I know we talk about it's the art and this to this, but we're gonna get into all of it. We're gonna go through this together so that we live right here together. As I think I'm recording this video live, but I'm gonna put it out later. So as we live put this out into the universe, we're gonna see how it pans out. And if you have any connection, really quick, I'm gonna make this side note. Any connection to schools, to churches, to community groups, to activists, to ministers, to ministries, to volunteers, to nonprofit organizations, to for-profit organizations, to the people on lockdown all around the world. We want to bring this message to them. If you can help us get there, please help us get there. If you can assist us in any way, whether it's a referral, whether it's a connect, whether it's a whatever, we want to bring this message because this is the message that needs to shoot to the moon. This message right here is the one that needs to go. I'm going to keep going this time. I know we got 47. We've been on here. We got 12 minutes before the hour comes up. 11 now. So let's go ahead because I want to finish this. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but it looks like we got about 4 more pages. So I'm going to just get into it and keep going. But I really want to make sure that we are really allowing, not just when the Spirit to move, allow the Spirit to move us. What is this meaning to us? Let's not just listen. And I'm saying let's like me, let us, let me, let I meaning my spirit, my mental, my physical, let me, let us. See how hip hop just goes into that? Let me, myself, and I gather my thoughts, get myself together, and create a better outcome situation for myself. That's what I'm doing right now. So let's go. But we'll get into all of that at a later time because this is what's important. Let's get into this word. Okay? Let's go. Verse 24. Much respect to all who seek the face of God. However, this gospel reflects the actual notes taken over a 14-year period with over 40 years of living hip hop spiritually. Others may have discovered other truths, but this hip hop documents the spiritual truths we as a hip hop community have discovered at the birth of our civilization. These are the principles we must never ever forget. This is what it means for us to be and remain free, to take responsibility for ourselves, to be able to chart our own path toward the divine, and make our own humble observations regarding spiritual, cultural, and political matters. Are we not free-thinking adults? Are we not free-thinking adults? Kind of rhetorical, but you get what I'm saying? Does God not speak to us all well? Does God not speak to us all as well? Well, Let us begin acting as such, beginning with the documentation of what we have seen, heard, and felt regarding the activity of God for ourselves. Verse 26, let us as scholars and hip hop citizens acknowledge the presence of love that has saved us. With this gospel, let us proclaim our reconnection and the trust for the love that has guided us thus far. We respect the experiences older civilizations have had with God, but now it is the time we experience God for ourselves. We no longer need an interpreter. Our culture is our religion, and our religion is our culture. Our culture is our religion, and the first instrument presented by none other than KRS-One. That is on page 29 at the very top. Again, that is verse 26. Going on to verse 27. Such a life is not for everyone, though. Hey. Such a life is not for everyone, though. Hip hop is alive. Uh-oh. I thought I heard something. Hold on. It's tough out here in the streets. Sorry, I thought I heard something bubbling up. It happens from time to time. Um, when you're at the bottom of a building, sometimes the plumbing and pipes have to go through, places through the bottom. So we on one of the bottom floors in the suite. So that's how that works. But nonetheless, let's go ahead. Let's move on. No distractions. Um, verse 27. Such a life is not for everyone, though. Hip hop is alive. It is a thinking faculty of the universe itself, and it chooses who it shall reveal its secrets to. That part. Hip hop chooses who to reveal its secrets to. Wow. See me pondering with that? Hold on a second. Right. Oh, yeah, here we are. Okay. Those of us who have committed ourselves to observing the divine activities of love and human affairs have observed that the force brought hip hop into existence, planned, protected, and nurtured us long before we knew we were being developed into hip hop. Hip hop started for us before we were aware of it. How about that? Hip hop started for us before we were aware of it. Verse 28, our observations show that divine love was the first act that got hip hop started. Our observations show, not say, show that divine love was the first act that got hip hop started. Something cared about us. Something cared about our group. Long before we knew what we would become, a loving, caring force was at work, guiding our steps and molding our collective character to become hip hop today. And we acknowledge the existence of this guiding force. It is to this force that we owe our existence. All praise, glory, and worship be to God. The love that has made us hip hop. For us, verse 29, it is the love that produces the intentions of our mind, and we live we live and perceive our reality in God. The love that fights for us. And because nothing exists outside of love, including hip hop, we accept our divinity as hip hoppers, as God's intention. For we now know for such that we belong to God, knowing hip hop is itself, excuse me, for we now know for sure that we belong to God, knowing that hip hop itself has its source in eternal being, along with everything else in the known and unknown universe. Know this: hip hop exists for divine reasons, and we have come into material existence as a part of the divine order of the universe. We, hip hop, are not a mistake. We are a manifestation of God's divine love. We are a manifestation of divine love. We are not here to just sing and dance. We're part of the divine order of things. Hip hop is a product of human genius, clearly inspired by divine mind. Therefore, our first work as a young nation is to take the source of our being more seriously. And this is what the Temple of Hip Hop is all about. Here, we approach the being of hip hop seriously. Verse 32, announced in 1996, the Temple of Hip Hop was formed to work in three phases: as an organization, as an organization that protects, preserves, and promotes hip hop culture. Culture spelled with a capital K. Again, announced in 1996, the Temple of Hip Hop was formed to work in three phases. One, as an organization that protects, preserves, and promotes hip hop culture. Number two, to open a cultural learning center and facility for hip hop culture. That's two. Number three, hip hop culture, featuring a museum exhibiting artifacts of hip hop culture. That's all part of number two. So number two again, to open a cultural learning center and facility for hip hop culture, featuring a museum exhibiting artifacts of hip hop culture. Number three, to build a school recognizing and teaching hip hop as the consciousness of our common culture. And four, to create an authentic collaborative history for the culture. Men of Hip Hop Calendar Series 1998. Verse 33, in short, the Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation society and ministry established to ensure the longevity and further development of traditional hip hop in the world. Our society is made up of exceptional hip hoppers who are united in the cause for hip hop's cultural, political, and spiritual expansion. However, again, the Temple of Hip Hop as well as the Gospel of Hip Hop are not intended for all people, even those who are participating in hip hop's culture and elements. Let's read that again, boo. Okay, verse 34, page 30. Again, the Gospel of Hip Hop, chapter 2, called The Love. Page 30, we're in verse 34. I'm going to read this again. However, again, the Temple of Hip Hop as well as the Gospel of Hip Hop are not intended for all people, even those who are participating in hip hop's culture, not spelled with the capital K, and elements. of hip hop and its gospel attract those hip hoppers who are intuitively who intuitively feel what it is already presented in this first instrument and only need to be reminded of such truth in a culturally relevant way. I'm gonna read that again because I messed it up. Both the temple of hip hop and its gospel attract those hip hoppers who intuitively feel what is already presented in this first instrument and only need to be reminded of such truth in a culturally relevant way. For many, this gospel will be more of a confirmation than an education. Nothing that is taught here is actually new. However, the way in which it is taught is indeed new. Truth is truth no matter where it comes from. And it is only in the way that such truth is presented that gives the impression that what is being taught is somehow new or original. Much of what is taught here is ancient and timeless, and you will be able to find many of our principles in a variety of spiritual circles. But the reason for this gospel is that no one in my time seems to be speaking directly to the hip hop community regarding its spiritual, cultural, and political development. And part of the reason for this, I suspect, is that no one can do this work for us. This work we must do for and by ourselves, for us, by us, FUBU, hip hop, right? Verse 37, this is that part of our journey where we must go it alone, blazing our own path toward union with the divine. Know this, revolution only works for those who participate in it. Tradition reveals its secrets and its powers only to those who are committed to the tradition. God speaks to those who speak to God. God listens to those who listen to God. The hip hop life that we live can only really be experienced by true hip hoppers committed to living hip hop spiritually. Read that again. God speaks to those who speak to God. God listens to those who listen to God. The hip hop life that we live can only be experienced by true hip hoppers committed to living hip hop spiritually. Others can read this gospel, watch instructional hip hop DVDs, even watch us imitating the effects of our real hip hop lives. But ultimately, if you have not committed your entire being to the spiritual exploration of hip hop, it will be a long time before you begin to experience the awareness of a spiritually lived hip hop life. And this goes for anything really. Even further, those who choose not to develop themselves or the craft which feeds them and their children become subject to the agendas of those who have. And on a more personal note, if the people around you are not participants in the revolution you have embarked upon, they will not be able to comprehend your ways or take part in the fruits of your success. They have not traveled your path. Therefore, they will not have or know your experience or perception. You can help them. You can give to them. You can assist them. You can teach them. You can love them. You can feed them and you can advise them. But you cannot share your space and time with those who have not traveled your path and have not gained your experience. Verse 41, you cannot trust those who have not traveled your path with the commitments your path requires. You cannot trust those who haven't traveled your path with the commitments your path requires. Your path is for you. Your blessings are for you. Your talents are uniquely yours. Yes, you are special. Everything else can be shared except the spiritual living of your own life experiences. These are authentically yours. You should keep a journal, such as your personal gospel. Ooh, that just blew my mind away real quick. That just blew my mind away that real quick. It says you should keep a journal. Why? Because such is your personal gospel. Your journal is your personal gospel. See, I'm scratching my ear because the ancestors are speaking. I'm hiding here, right? I know it's over the 1 hour, but I'm going for 111. And we're at 108. Going for 111. We're gonna finish this by 111. We got 3 minutes. Let's go. The love in your heart will want to unite with those who suffer and are in need. But please remember that everyone is where they are because of who they are. To truly save a person from their own illusions and hardships, it is not you that must unite with them. Will only lead to your own suffering. Your natural humility and care for others will direct you to suffer with those who surround you because without you, they would be lost. You know it, and they know it, but they front like you ain't special, right? And you agree, I ain't special. I'm not above anyone. What I do, anyone can do if they put their minds to it. Verse 44, all of this is simply not true because of the life path that you have chosen and mastered. You are actually special. Yes, you are respectfully above everyone else who has not mastered even their own life to do or even what you have done. Realize your uniqueness right now and let no one degrade you or lead you to doubt yourself with the experiences of their lives. Verse 45. Yes, you are special. You are hip hop. Your only challenge is your own belief in the existence of your own hip hop reality. Repent now. Your victory is closer to you than your hands. Even Prophet Farrakhan has already said to us, you are not conscious of how powerful God has made you in the wrong direction. But if you turn in the right direction, you will spark revolution all over the world. It's not a revolution of bloodshed, but it's not a revolution of bloodshed. Verse 47. The prophet continued, I can't be like Jonah anymore, and neither can you, hiding from your mission, running away from what your real assignment is. So if the fish is swallowing you up, but when the boy learned to pray, he was spit up on dry land. And he said, I surrender, God. I've been fighting you, but I know it's time. I hope that you will say, I surrender, God. I know it's time that I can do better than what I am doing. Money is not more important than the rise of a suffering people into the fulfillment of the promise of God. Nothing is more important than your people becoming truly free. Boom. And there it is. We are 111, y'all. We made it. We made it. We made it. We did it. And again, shout out to KRS-One for the Temple of Hip Hop. Give thanks. Get this book, y'all. It's needed. All that good stuff. Follow us, hashtag Hope for Hip Hop. That's Hope, the number 4 Hip Hop. Join in with us, Truth Media Global, our Hope for Hip Hop Facebook, and our Truth Media Facebook. I think it's a like page or a group, one of them. But get with us. Peace and blessings, one love. Ashe. So allow the spirit to move again. Ashe. 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 All day. Ashe. I give thanks to the answers. Ashe. Ashe.